is iRacing.
Two weeks ago, we were at Monza, and whatever lessons they learned there will certainly come in handy here. It's time for America's National Park of Speed as we get ready for round 6 of the Skip Barber Race Series. You'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes is our director, Christian Duploy, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Craig, for these tiny cars, this place is an absolute behemoth.
Yeah, we've looked at the stats. 2.5 minute lap times around here, what is usually a pretty quick track. So get the coffee going. It might be a long one, but there's going to be action non-stop today.
Indeed. And since Road America has lots to cover, let's head over to our track guide to learn a little bit more. Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But two of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why. It is a very sprawling facility. I can confirm, having been here a few times, Craig. It is gorgeous.
Do you know, it's been gorgeous on the sim for years as well, even after the update. And, well, you're going to get a lot of time to see it on these straights, because these straights are usually quite competitive when you're in the higher speeds. It's going to be a slower race today, as we mentioned at the top of the show. And it's going to be defined by some hard braking zones. And, of course, you can see them there. It's going to be turn 5. Down the Moraine sweep. You're going to have to get ready then as well for turn 14. And that's always going to be a struggle. But it's all about these corners, because you get these long straights and then medium to slow speed corners. So that's going to test the ability of the drivers to get that mechanical grip on these cars, because there is no wings on these cars that give you some downforce. So they're going to have to be careful. Carousel, as I always say, Joe, the best place to make a move. Why? Because you get on the throttle too early, you're going to be losing before you even get to Canada Corner.
Yeah, there's definitely a different dynamic here than you see in the faster powered cars. Now, as for the championship at this point, it's a lot of the familiar faces up at the top, with Adam Miles leading Vlado Tito by only 2 points. From there, Guardia, Burke, Herman round out your top 5, only about 8 points between 3rd and 5th as well, so they're not too far separated. In fact, well, Chuck Martin, since he is tied with that 5th position with Steph Herman, and then Sanchez only 2 more points behind him. Still all to play for, despite this already marking the halfway point of the season. Talk to us a little bit about today's race details, though, Craig.
Well, as you said, we are at the halfway point of the season, round 6 of 12. It's going to be 9 laps around here. It's going to feel like a real fun 9 laps as well. Open setup, so use what the use a baseline, use your own setup, use what the community provides. But you do get a spare car. Might want to be using that today if you get caught out in an early accident. It will be a standing start, as it's an older series and the community do like it. But because it's D-licensed, not only do you get that spare car, as I mentioned, disqualification at 17 incident points. Again, lots of grass, lots of runoff. Could be seeing that if people cut some of the corners a bit too much.
Yeah, don't want to abuse that, as there is Not as much of the paved runoff like you typically see in a lot of bigger tracks like this, but still places you can gain time, just maybe abusing the limits in a few spots around this circuit. We're in the midst of qualifying, but because the laps are so long, we're probably only going to get one full flying lap for these cars.
Yeah, and I think they'll need it out here today because it is going to be very interesting. It almost feels like it's Le Mans for the GT cars, if you know what I mean. Le Mans usually about a almost 4-minute lap time in a GT3 car, and you only get one time lap. There's Vlado Tito going along, and I'm gonna have to talk about the weather here, Joe, because it's very interesting. It's 22 Celsius, that's 71 Fahrenheit. Humidity 89%, that's fine. Have you seen the wind? Northeast. For those who want to know where it is, you're going south as you come up this hill. So that gives you an idea where it is, and near the end of the race, that's going to be a easterly wind. So get ready for a side wind all day, and that's quite blustery.
Yeah, exactly. I'm showing 17 miles per hour, which is pretty stiff. These are such small cars, even though they don't really use aero that much. They do have those wings. They can be pushed around. And more importantly, where you are in terms of the slipstream will play a big factor. If you're going into the wind, then obviously that has a huge impact on the lap. This is the first flying lap for Vlado Tito here. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, as we said, I don't think he's going to be able to get around in time. If he does get around for a second one, it'll be right down to the wire. But currently, into the downhill braking zone of turn 5, sets himself up for one of the more popular passing spots, and then up and under the Corvette Bridge. Very blind. Honestly, one of the trickier corners here, Craig.
I've always struggled in the sim on that corner because if you brake too late, in some cars you'll almost start to lock up and bottom out the car. So some drivers like to brake a little bit before the crest there, before the bridge. And then you have that little mini kink there at 7 to the hurry downs here into another tough corner, because look at the camera on the inside corner there at turn 8. Use all the runoff there through 8, and now we're 9 into the carousel. Let's just see where he starts to lift off. There, you just see that little change. There it is. And that's a very late lift off there in the Skip Barbers. Usually in a modern day car, you'd be braking or lifting a little bit earlier than that, but with these cars, they can hold that grip so much from 9 and 10. If they do a lift pretty late, they can keep that speed up.
So I think the farthest driver up right now is Rafael Rogers. So if we're looking for anybody to complete the 2 laps, the number 17 seems to be the most likely candidate currently as we continue to ride on board with Tito down through Canada Corner, lowest part on the circuit here. And then you climb back up through another blind one, Bill Mitchell bends. Usually you want to try and go single file through here. And then perhaps one of the most important turns, 14, Craig. We'll probably see a fair number of slipstream battles to the line.
Yeah, IMSA have always called that one of the danger corners, and you can just see it almost tightens up. It starts a little bit open, then it tightens up so much, and that runoff does not help you. This run up the hill is going to be vital. Look for the chess games near the end of the race. A 2:33.4 is the first time out. I see Adam Miles is just behind as well. It's a 2:33.9. Now, I wouldn't be too worried about those times because of the slipstream here, Joe. I think the name of the game is to get yourself within the top 5. In fact, Raul Rogers Guardia just at the exact same time as Adam Miles, but I think he was a 1,000th faster, or even a 10,000th faster, as he just pips Adam Miles to P3.
Well, color me surprised. We managed to get about half the field across the line before that 2:33, 2:34 mark. As long as they get to that timing beam before the timer hits 0, then they should be able to get this second lap to count. Steph Herman with the pole by a little under 1/10 of a second. Martin unusually far down here in 9th. He needs this second lap. And the good news for him is he's well up the field track position-wise, so he's going to easily get around for this second one.
Yeah, I think him and Rafael Rogers are going to be the first drivers to set some times here. It might even be Martin with the way he's driving around, because Rogers has actually invalidated his lap time. So it won't be Rogers. Rogers is going to have to start at the back of the field here with 2 invalid laps. And I wonder if Martin did not heat the tires up, because I know some of these drivers like to try and put as much heat as they can into that first lap. And I do a bit into the out lap, sorry, not just the first lap. So we'll see the time start to really trickle down here as Martin using not a lot of the track there. Most people like to try and use the runoff there at turn 10, but I also am aware, Joe, that it cambers away from the track. So sometimes using that curb is kind of a deterrent.
Yeah, you got to be very cognizant of which way many of the curbs lean or how tall they are, because they have a bit of variety of them around here. Now, once again, down into Canada corner, Martin is going to try and wrap this one up. I'm currently showing him about a second faster than his first lap, which will do him a lot of good because that's about how far away he is from the pole right now. And in fact, I think he's going to be one of the first ones to cross the line here from what I'm seeing on my track map. With 20 seconds left, he'll be able to get there in time as long as he kept it within the track limits. Let's see what lap number 2 holds for the number 2 car. He'll hit the line, and it's a 2:33.4, much quicker, and that puts him up to third as Vlado Tito has taken the pole away from Herman.
Adam Miles can only get into P3. Javier Sanchez out of nowhere over top 5. Look how close it is. You're going to keep an eye on the top 6 today, Joe, for the slipstream battles, I feel.
18 cars managed to get a time down on the board out of our 21 drivers taking part in this top split. Not too bad, but you could definitely see a few there that missed that second lap as they disappeared just before the end. But at the top of it, Vlado Tito is on the pole. Steph Herman will be second with Adam Miles in P3. Miguel Martin fourth, followed by Xavier Sanchez in fifth with a great second lap. Peter Suaponki on the outside of his row. You've got Pablo Hoglar starting in seventh. Raul Guardia in P8. He'll need a lot more than that in the championship for points. Ricardo Martinez in ninth and Jordi Peroliu in the 10th position. Greg?
Yeah, we're going to get Terry McGruver in 11th, followed by Philip Burke in 12th. Tumo Boras will be the unlucky 13th, with Andy Balchin in 14th. Ogitz Ballart will take 15th, with Adrian Brook in 16th, followed by Diego Ortiz in a surprising 17th. Javier Martin in 18th, last of the time qualifiers Francisco Machini, Julio Torres, and then Rafael Rogers, all in that order. The 15th, 16th, and 17th cars in numbers will start 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Already lined up out there at the start-finish line, so we just wait for the last of them to plop themselves down. Then we've got 9 laps of racing around this circuit. Watch out for both turn 1, as everybody's going to have a long run into there, so the slipstream is going to help them get a lot of speed, even with a standing start. And then into turn 5. Turn 5 especially is notorious for drivers tangling because they're all so eager to try to make moves into that heavy braking zone on the first time around. Patience will probably be key today because of that slipstream being so powerful. You don't necessarily have to lead, you just have to stay with the lead group. You can see in the background just how much the trees are wavering back and forth. That is according to the actual wind. iRacing does take that into account in their animations. Looks like the green flag is out, and they are on their way down towards turn 1. Pretty steady start for most everybody. I'm not seeing anybody with a huge advantage over the other. As Craig, they're already looking single file up at the front coming into turn 1.
Your standard Skip Barber start there as everyone tries to just go into single file. Then they start to fan out with that long run. And it's a longer run than what you're used to into the Skip Barber. One car going around right away almost just saves it and then gets into the barrier hard. And I believe that might be, I think that's Philip Burt, the number 5 car. Heavy damage, losing it there. Now, I think he actually got tagged there, slid too much into turn 1, made contact with the number 6 and the 13 there. And just there was a Pajeo, and then the number 6, of course, I believe that was McGruver.
So a number of big names there, unfortunately involved in an opening incident. Herman's going to take the lead back from Tito. Here comes Adam Miles looking down to the inside, coming into turn 5 as he takes the apex away from Vlado. They're going to continue that battle on up the hill into 6. Vlado with a little bit of momentum. He slots back into P2 as well.
That's what you're going to see in the background. We saw a little bit of free wide from Espinella, Suapanki, Guardia, all trying to go free wide going into turn 5. And you're going to be seeing that a lot today if this goes it, but look at the elastic band start to snap. You can battle but you've got to pick your time to battle, and they've lost the time now. And Guardia would love to be at the front here, so you can't bump draft in these cars. He's going to have to hope that Martinez can catch up there to Hoglar, but the top 7 have already gone. In fact, I think, well, actually, it's the top 6, like I said. Just that battle going 3 wide into turn 5 has already split the field, and if you're Guardian and Suapanki, well, you're not going to be happy about that.
Yeah, I mentioned it before. You need to stick with that lead pack if you want a shot at the win. It's going to be more and more unlikely that you'll run them down late in the race, although not impossible. Guardia knows it. He's already looking down to the inside of Martinez, and he's going to be able to overtake him. He says, I can lead us a little bit quicker as he moves himself up into 7th.
Yeah, Jordi right behind, and yeah, Pajeo just making that move on Suapanki as well, and I think they're starting to just go, look, we've got to get a move on, and we're going to have to use it. And already they're losing time out there as Guardia holds up to this up here at the 6. As we get a quick look at what happened to Philip Burke here, because there's not going to be any moves right there until the very end, and I think he just goes a little bit too hot here. That rear's going to start to slide now, and they're sliding, Joe, and then they're sliding, and he has to hold that car. Everybody else is trying to hold the car, and that's what happened there. The leaders, though, as we go back to live pictures, they are 3 wide.
Well, here we go. Miles, Tito, and Herman. Although Herman backs out, Martin spies an opportunity. He'll get himself up to 3rd with that one as Herman goes back in line. Xavier Sanchez also giving watch there in the sort of orange gold-colored number 7. He'll get up the inside of Steph Herman, and it looks like he almost gets the speed initially, but look at him start to drop back now that he's out of the slipstream. He falls to the tail of the train.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some super speedway strats here. If you're not in the slipstream, you're out of it. Well, everyone's in the slipstream right now. 2 by 2, they go. And Vlado Tito's on his own at the moment. Now they're de facto 3 wide going in here. And I think that is not Steph Herman, sorry, that is Hoglar, who out of nowhere has just gone, hello, I want in, but just throwing a lot of dirt up for these drivers as well. McGruber in the picture-in-picture, trying to get past Martinez, and that's a move. Pajeo got that move done. Martinez got out of the line there, so to say, and even there through 5 and 6, there's still a de facto line. They're losing a lot of time. They're going to have to be content with P6 today.
Yeah, Guardia 1.7 seconds back. I can say that is out of the slipstream at this stage. So that ship may have sailed, unfortunately for him. Watching from on board, our leader back at the group of the top 6. And 5 of those obviously behind that number 3 machine. Now they're going to get a nice pull coming down through the kink into the kettle bottoms. Does anybody try to make a move here into Canada Corner, since it's still a long straightaway, but maybe you want to wait until the main straight since it's that much longer? A little look from Martin, but no, everybody stays in line.
And I think that's wise right there. Could have made the move. I think Hoglar as well in that bright green could have looked for a move as well, but deciding against it, because even though slingshotting, not slipstreaming, slingshotting would be a good idea to get the speed up, they're happy. They know that they've got this big gap now to the rest, so these 6 will know they have to just strap in now for the next, what's going to be 7 laps after this, and they just want to just keep it under control. Even if Tito just gets this gap here, and that's a 3/10 gap, you don't need to worry right now, as now you see Martin going to look for this move, and there is so much overlap, they're just going to split this. This is almost like the Hackett and Schumacher moment at Spa.
Except this time they're going by the leader instead of a lapped car, and Hoglar, I think, is going to get the lead out of that. So he clearly likes to be at the point of this group. We've seen him move from the back of it all the way to the top spot within about a lap. Martin gets 2nd, Tito gets put into 3rd, and Adam Miles now sits in 4th. And even with this fighting, they're still continuing to gap the next group by a big chunk. It's 2.9 seconds back now.
And that's even with Terry McGruber taking the fastest lap last time out in the front of that second group. Vlado's had enough. He said, okay, you've had your fun. We're going to go 3 wide again, and I'm going to retake the lead. And interestingly, right behind, Hoglar gets the move done. Martin yields right back. There's McGruber, and you wouldn't think he's got the fastest lap. Oh, a little bit of a hit there. They're going to go 3 wide. It's Herman Pajeo and McGruber right there. And I think McGruber's going to take that inside line. Or sorry, yeah, and Guardia follows in because Jordi's gone a little bit too wide there. making that move. I don't see any damage, but you can't be banging too much because you've lost enough time already to the front. You don't want to gain anybody else because there's 5 cars, sorry. Could be getting another one if they're not too careful.
I'm pretty sure that McGruther has a slightly bent front wing, and that might not look like much, but we have to remember that even losing a mile an hour, 2 miles an hour on average down the straightaway can have a big effect, and it can make it so much harder to try and make those passes later on. So yes, we see them getting physical, but that's less than ideal as we watch the 15 of Machini go too wide down through the kink and actually goes off into the grass as Martinez will bravely stay to the inside and manage to take 10th, but he's now going to lose it to Suaponki.
Picture in picture, we saw Hoglar retake the lead. Now what's going to happen in this group? And you got to tip your cap off early doors to Christian here, our director, because there's a lot of battles going on right now. I see 4 different groups, and we've got 21 cars, Joe. I know Philip Burke had to take some repairs, but basically all 20 other cars, I think 19 of them, are involved in all these groups right now. So wherever you look, there's a lot of battles, and well, I don't think we're going to get 4 wide. I know this is a track that's got a lot of room here, Joe, but there's Adam Miles trying to look for an opportunity. Nowhere for him to go. He's going to have to be content, and usually P3 is the best place to go on a slipstream track.
I'd say give it until the last lap. We'll get that 4 wide at some point. Oh, that is just a little bit too much speed there for Vlado Tito. He has to make sure he doesn't lose touch with the group as he goes all the way to the back. Meanwhile, behind them, a few more cars kicking up that dirt coming off of turn 1. Tito still within 0.6 of a second. He should be able to reel them back in.
It's going to be tough, but if he sees the 2 wide right in front of him, he'll be okay. Now, these guys going to go to look for a move here. I doubt it. Oh, actually, I saw them bumping up the tires. Actually, I think McGruver tried to pull out too early on Bahia right there, and he almost ran over, so they'll be de facto 3 wide. I see Tito has caught back up here. Now the inside will be to Raul Rogers Guardia. He retakes the lead. He's a really good slipstreamer when it comes to these Skip Barbers, and I would have loved to have seen what he could have done had he not been in the second pack. The front pack could have been really interesting, but at the moment, he's just going to have to be content with this battle. McGruver gets it. Suapanki is now looking to try and make some moves up the field as he's got up another position and put himself 3rd in this group.
Suaponki actually started this race in 6th, so he's technically down right now, but yeah, like you said, he's trying to get some of that back. Here we see that 3rd group, looks like a trio of cars battling behind this group number 2. Andy Balshin currently in the midst of that. I think that's Torres in front of them, and then Adrian Brook sitting in 15th behind.
Yeah, they are through 2 seconds away from that pack. This pack we've been looking at, and
whoa,
someone's in the grass. Big moment there as well, and Jordy's gone around there, and I think as well Torres almost got caught there. Was that just a little bump at the end, I wonder? Yeah, very questionable. Machini goes into him there. They're going to try and almost take this 2 wide going here, and that's not going to work. And this is the desperation we saw last week as well, and the week before, when heat drivers are trying to get up to the front of this pack to lead it. Well, a little bit of chaos happens when one car goes off, and we've just seen that.
Yeah, Machini absolutely smacked the outside wall, so he's going to have some heavy damage. We're going to take a second look at it to see what caused it. So Jordy getting a little bit loose, and I think that meant that Franco had to take avoiding action, but unfortunately that put him on a trajectory that just you don't want to have in the kink.
No, I think it was the fact that Jordy went a bit too wide, as by the way, Javier Sanchez takes the lead. Jordy turned in a bit too late, and I'm not saying the center quote, but there was a gap there, and I think Machini followed the line that he has to take, the racing line, and didn't have a time to really make a reaction because he probably didn't know what was going to happen. So, yeah, very weird incident there, I've got to say, but here's what we haven't seen for a while. Actually, we haven't seen all time for this race. Adam Miles tails up to the lead. Martin's going to look to try with this double slipstream to take this 3 wide. And you'll just see him just there on the left of the corner. And there he goes. Vlado Tito has worked his way back up to this. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, Joe. Vlado's taking a very wide line into turn 5.
And as we were riding on board with Sanchez, we definitely heard him lift. So there are a few that are playing the game out there. They're not 10 tenths at all times, and deciding at times it's just better to kind of let a driver go if they seem like they really want the lead. So Miguel, as you said, taking that top spot away from Adam Miles, who briefly was up in that position. We are still at 6 cars in the front group, but the second group with that incident has whittled down to 4.
What's interesting, remember I was just talking about Tito taking such a wide, aggressive line? Well, he got a slowdown for turn 5. Would you know it? There he is. There's the white car. You wouldn't know it. He had a slowdown. He was in 4th place. He stayed in 4th place, and he kept up with the pack. So that's going to be an interesting development later in the race. Now Miles is going to get the run, and because of the nature of 11A here at the Kettle Bottoms, and I can't believe I'm actually using 11A as a reference point here for the first time, Joe, on a broadcast, that little kink allowed Miles to block off the run there from Javier Sanchez.
Yeah, the less than straight nature of the straight makes it easy to try and kind of fend people off just by fading across the course. In fact, that's really a feature of a lot of spots on this track. There's often the jokes of where's turn 2? Well, there is a little bit of a bend coming down into 3, and that is turn 2. And then, of course, the moraine sweep definitely has a weave back and forth as well before you get into turn 5. But we're going to swap positions once again as Martin and Miles will exchange, and then Sanchez will use that double slipstream, but he lifted once more. He had a lot of speed, but chose not to use all of it.
And the problem with that is that actually hindered them more than had he gone for it, because look at that little bit of time that Miles lost because of it. Javier could have gone for it. Now, I don't know if that was Javier probably not confident enough to make the commitment to the corner, but then you were basically side by side for the whole time from turn 1, then going into turn 2 and then turn 3, and now they hit to 4 as well. And yeah, I've always talked about these corners, Joe. I was told, as we're going to go 3 wide again, I was always told that they were for Marshall points, and well, where are we going, boys? 2 by 2 by 2. Nobody knows what they want to do right now.
It's Noah's Ark down into turn 5, and yet they stay that way. Nobody really gets an advantage. I don't think the cars behind can even go anywhere if they wanted, frankly. The top 2 are still blocking the road. Miles gets a little bit of an edge, and he will take the lead. Martin will now slot into second, and finally, they sort themselves out. But again, a testament to the skill of the top drivers in the Skip Barbers here in iRacing, that they can hold that position and fly in formation.
I don't know if you've seen, or if the viewers have seen, the iRacing clip from last year of the Skip Barbers going 2 by 2 up the hill at Bathurst. Yes, that happened because that's just a testament of the ability of these drivers, the skill of these drivers. They know the respect to give, and they know the space they've got. So that's what you expect to see. But to go side by side through 5 and 6, that's a new one for me. Herman at the back of this field, probably not the best place he wants to be, especially on lap 6 of 9. I wonder if he's going to look to be the aggressor next time by. Vlado Tito looked to be the aggressor. Late moment pull out there behind Adam Miles to get that overtake done. Probably caught Adam by surprise, but these two, they know each other a lot by now, so he's probably used to whatever Vlado's doing.
It's almost like you're racing for the first corner into every corner. You could see the cars to his side braking that much earlier because they had no place to go, while Steph could just carry the speed into the turn. Car placement seems to be one of the key skills in this style of racing.
Yeah, and this is what we mean. And now here comes the chess game, Joe. Notice who had the lead going into this lap. It's Vlado Tito, and he got that by 0.062. Look where he was when he made that overtake as they go 3 wide. Look where they are. So this is now where they're starting to play the games. They've done a lot of racing. They did a warm-up race, some of them, the last time slot. So they understand now that they have to time it right through turn 14. We saw that last week with the hog pen. We saw it at Monza with the Parabolica. It's going to have to be a timed move to make sure you get that final corner done so you don't get that drag race up the line.
Back to the second group. Guardia is at the lead of it. Martinez now in second. Wait a few moments. That'll change around. Peter Suaponki and the yellow-nosed machine starting to gain. And in fact, now he is going to be the leader in that group. Meanwhile, up at the very front in the corner of your screen, looks like Miles returns to the top spot. They think about 4 wide for a moment, and they decide maybe it's a little too early for that. Following at the back of this group, it is McGruther.
They went 4 wide on the last lap in the middle pack at Monza, so never say never. But interestingly, as much as we've seen all this pack racing, Joe, let's go back to that word respect. Only 1 car retired in 1 crash. We've had 2 crashes with 1 car who's at the back of the field having to take the quick repair. Just goes to show you, 2 cars, sorry, taking the quick repair, but it just goes to show you how clean the series is. For, again, it's an old car, but this is the car that you always got told when you started in iRacing, drive this car to learn how to drive. And even with modern day cars, with the Formula Vs, the Formula Fords, I would still put this car on top of that standard of use this car to learn, because you're not going to learn when to pull out and make overtakes in any other car right now, as Herman's going to take that lead away from Miles. Look where Vlado is. He could not get past Miles.
A lap ago, you said Herman might not be in the place he wants to be. I don't think he was that worried, because now suddenly he is at the lead of the group. Meanwhile, back with the second one, I think Guardia still leads. Suaponki has put himself into second in this group, so that 7th is the top car right now with Raul. And then we jump all the way back to Rafael Rogers, who is chasing on Boris, and then that's Javier Martin in behind him. So a different Martin from Miguel up at the front.
Yeah, and now the leaders will be going 3 wide for the penultimate time. And who crossed the line first? It was Adam Miles. Remember, he was leading. Well, it was Herman leading. Almost goes into the back there. And that could have been a heart-in-the-mouth moment as everyone checked up. Another thing at play here today, Joe. Adam Miles lost his 10K I rating, and he's been on a mission to get it back again. 9,996. He would gain it if he finished second or higher.
He made slight contact, I think, into that first corner with one of the cars in front of him, and that has split the group up. Meanwhile, I think Hoglar is going to back out because he sees that 3 wide in front of him. Herman chops across to take the racing line as that next group here in the first group, as Martin move himself up into 3rd. He's the most aggressive on the brakes. Sanchez will move into 4th. And then Adam Miles will take 5th. It looks like they thankfully have not lost the main group, although somebody locking up the brakes there behind them into turn 5.
Yeah, McGruver's trying to do a MacGyver there and try and find the best way to do a smoke signal, but that was the lockup there we saw. Kept it under control, so that's all he needs to do. Vlado Tito still serving a slowdown. He had another bad moment through turn 5. We had to just serve that again, but even after that little moment, Miles checking everybody up, they're all back together. But I'm now going to say let's forget about Adam and Hoglar unless they make a move down to Canada Corner, Joe. I know I said 3rd is the best place, but how wide and how long this track is, keep your eyes on Javier Sanchez here and look at him start to make the move. I think he's a sleeper here for the victory.
I agree. Like I said earlier, he was clearly lifting in certain places, just waiting and biding his time. The speed was there. He knows how to make the moves. He just doesn't need to do them now. As once again, it's Noah's Ark down through Canada Corner this time. White flag being prepared at the stand as Vlado Tito leads the group, at least for the moment. Herman sits in second. Sanchez and Martin battling for 3rd, and the battle will erupt once more onto the main straight. This is where that slipstream will once again start to break out.
Seeing a replay here, Javier Martin having a moment as well. Did they just get caught together? No, I think he lost it on his own. Trying to avoid, could not make it because you always look where the car is, not where the car's going there. So that's unfortunate. Leaders 3 wide, and I think the inside line, in fact, Tito's decided it's not worth it. Is he going to go for a late move into 3 wide? The dog flap is open, but he can't make that move. And I think that's going to be Herman to take the lead. They are back into Noah's Ark, and it's been Noah's Ark for probably the last 3 laps here. And say it ain't so, Joe. They're 3 wide into turn 3.
And that is going to force Martin to try and back out of that one. Herman is indeed your leader, but now he's got Sanchez and Tito starting to reel him in as we ride on board with Miguel. Question is, who is going to wind up getting blocked off? Neither of them as they're going to go 3 wide once more. Sanchez in the middle. He initially has the speed, but he stalls out now that they've reached the end of the straight. Way out to the outside for Tito, trying to open up the corner, and that works a treat. He holds on to the top spot.
I don't know how he did that, but he was able to use the space that he can, and he takes that lead while the rest of the field is side by side. Just remember, those are still another run down in the kettle bottoms for the drivers, and this little kink will just bring everybody back together. Tito's probably in the worst spot here because no one's going to look for a move here, and Herman, being very smart, he's decided not to make the move. Tire banging behind from Miles and Hoglar. I think that was just understeer. I think there was nowhere else for them to go. This is a very crucial moment down the carousel because the kink's going to be practically flat in these little skip barbers. So who gets on the throttle first? Miles understeered a little bit off the exit there. Herman's in a great spot. Javier's in a better one.
Miles has got his elbows out, though. He just kind of edged Hoglar off the track at turn 8. This is not the end of it, but it certainly could set us up for the finish as the drivers once again try to position themselves into Canada corner. A little bit of a blink from Vlado Tito as Steph Herman round the outside this time. I don't know if that's the way you want to be. 3 wide, and they come out the other side the same way at Canada corner. Are they going to try and hold it up through Bill Mitchell Bend? They're going to attempt it. Question is, will it work? Yes, it will. Somehow, 3 wide for 2 corners. Can they make it for 3 corners? Little bit of contact, and Herman gets bumped off into the gravel. Sanchez currently has the lead, but will he have it across the line? Those behind him did not get the run they needed out of turn 14, and that could be all she wrote. Adam Miles has a little bit of speed starting to gain, but it's losing, and they're going to go 4 wide across the line, but Sanchez wins.
I mean, we got to look at these gaps as well because Adam Miles finishes 4th. In an absolute nail-biter right behind as well, still battling as well, and I believe that's going to be Martinez just beating out Suapanki. More battles as well. That was 0.012 there. Raul Roche's Guardian misses out as well. These drivers coming on by. If you can't see the gaps right now, Joe, Sanchez beat Tito by 1/10. Tito beat Hoglar by 2 thousandths. Beat Miles by 8 thousandths, and Martin lost to Miles by 0.025. That was a definition of a drag race.
That was just incredible. I hope we can get a freeze frame of those 4 across the line, just enough room between them to decide P2. And like you said, less than 1/10 between 4 cars. But ahead of them all, it was Xavier Sanchez who wound up taking the win. And Vlado Tito, P2, was ahead of Hoglar, who rounds out the podium. Adam Miles has to settle for 4th. Miguel Martin with a 5th. Steph Herman, because of the little bit of contact, all the way back down to 6. I'm sure he's frustrated on that one, but you can only go 3 wide so long, even here. Ricardo Martinez was P7. Peter Suapanki was 8th, and Raul Guardia was P9. Terry McGruther gets a top 10.
And then we got drivers who were out of the pack or in their own little pack here. Diego Ortiz goes up 6 to 11. Julio Torres will go up 8 to 12. Andy Bolchin finishes in 13th. Adrian Brook 14th. Rogers from the back of the field finishes in 15th. Boraz will be 16th. Javier Martin will take 17th. Jordi Pereo had to take a fast repair, finishes in 18th. Ballard, not sure what happened to him at the end there, will finish in 19th. Philip Burke as well with that little fast repair in 20th, and one retiree, and that was Machini at that incident at the kink. He finishes 21st.
So we got all the action that we could have asked for. Let's take one more look at that finish because, wow, it was wild. There is the difference across the line. 4 cars abreast, and you said it earlier, Sanchez was setting them up. He timed himself just right, positioned himself off the final corner, and he was the one that ran away laughing. And I don't see him in there ready to chat, but I do see Adam Miles, who got a P4. Let's see what his perspective on all the fighting was like. Adam, it wasn't a podium today, but man, you got a standing ovation finish there with 4 wide at the end. How do you even try to manage what's going on in that chaos?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just so impressed with everyone at the front. With a lap to go, going 3 or 4 wide into turn 1, and you think everyone's already got their knives out. It's going to end in tears. I'd unfortunately fallen back, I think, at the beginning of lap 8. I had to really check up into turn 1, which sort of just lost me all my momentum. But yeah, that final lap is just, too wide, I think, with Hoglar. He sent it into Canada corner, but got it stopped. And then coming out the last corner, I think Steph might have got shoved onto the grass. I thought, okay, I'm 4th, but I've actually got a chance here. But I think Javier played it really well out the last corner, moved over, and I think it was just scraps for the rest of us fighting for that P2.
I mean, yeah, you guys were clawing at those scraps with, I think it was less than a tenth between 4 of you crossing the line. We all know that this is how the racing goes. So, I mean, what do you do in a race like this other than try to just stick with the group? Is there any game plan?
No, I mean, you don't want to be 4th coming out the last. So you just lap 7 and 8 and beginning of 9 are all about setting yourself up, trying to be top 3. Because the front 3 can kind of go 3 wide in places and block 4th, so they can kind of control the race if they do it right. So I just didn't want to be 4th, 5th, or 6th in that group, and unfortunately, I think I was 5th, maybe starting the last lap. So that's the plan. I think we'd all acknowledged that there was a gap building to 7th, so we played it pretty sensible for 7 laps, and then that last lap was very stressful, as Vlado said in the chat. So again, super impressed with everyone that we basically kept it clean. I don't know what happened with Steph, but it was probably just a racing incident.
Yeah, I couldn't really offer much on that front. And not everybody likes vanilla, so thankfully we've got some variety. We're off to Summit Point next time, almost doing a 180 on what type of racing you guys will have.
Yeah, I mean it's probably one of the original tracks. I think it's like track ID, single digits, Skippy car number 1 in the car ID system. So you don't get more classic than Skippy's at Summit Point, and there's a reason that people turn out for that track.
Well, I personally love seeing the Skippies race on it, so hopefully those that do show up will get to enjoy. And again, congratulations on a fun race.
Great, thanks a lot.
That was Adam Miles, unfortunately given 4th in the end. But a big thank you to the Skippy community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And thank you to the team today. It sounds like actually we've got one more. So Craig is caught up with Vlado Tito.
Yeah, sorry to stop you in your stride there, Joe. Now we've got Vlado here. Vlado, that looked a very interesting race at the end there. Did you let Sanchez get too far ahead at the end?
It was very stressful last 3 corners, and when I see in the last straight before that 3 corners, Xavier, I opened the door for Xavier. I was thinking I will be dead in the middle, but I will keep there. Whatever will happen, it happen. I will give space to everybody. If I'm dead, I will be dead. But I'm grateful for everybody. They playing very fair. It was little touchy, but that's normal. And I take 2nd position. Very good, not bad. And I'm glad for Xavier to take this victory because he do a lot of things for the Skip Barber community, and he deserves it.
I think it's a very well-liked victory today for Javier. I can't find many people that'd be upset to see him winning today. Vlado, we've had 3 races in a row with big finishes. You've been in all of them. 2 seconds and a 1st. What is the mindset going into a race like this compared to a normal track? Because it's just a drag race to the end.
I will say only a few words. It's only hard, never dirty. And I'm pushing always hard. I want to be always first. I'm not calculating nothing. I remember last time we raced this road America. I was first. I won first. And it is possible to win from first position here if the guys behind are a little mistake exiting or was attacked from the 3rd or 4th guys. And my set mind was to push to be always first at the end on the last corner, to be first, and what will happen will happen. That is how I drive.
Well, we've seen it on the broadcast, we've seen it on the iRacing page. It does say in your cockpit, only hard, never dirty, and you have proven it. Vlado, we have a break from these draft fests. Summit Point next week. Your thoughts going into Summit Point?
The best track for Skip Barber there. I'm very happy. I'm waiting for that track. I hoping again to be in the first, second, or third place, because that track will suit me very good for driving, and I'm very happy it's the next week.
Well, Valo, congratulations on another grandstand finish. Congratulations on a P2. We look forward to seeing you at Summit Point. I think Joe's going to agree with you there, and I think I will. Summit Point, fantastic track for the Skip Barbers. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Valo Tito finishing in second. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, they're finishing in second.
No problem at all. Yeah, I think we're definitely in agreement on enjoying getting to see them at a little bit of a smaller track, as fun as it is every once in a while for these. Let's carry on with a few thank yous, since I'm pretty sure we are done with the interviews now. As a big thanks go to our team today, Craig, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next race, as we keep mentioning, will be Summit Point, and that will be April 30th when that one crops up. Up next, we have the Grand Prix Legends going to Pocono. Make sure and tune in, because the oval race for the Lotus 49s is always a joy. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts that we have listed here, but until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
This is iRacing.